Guess how many courses I sold so far in the month of September? 29. 29. Who would have thought?
Without a doubt, this business in my future has changed enormously.
114 people bought the course.
I already had a couple sales and I hadn't even marketed yet.
I've been in the system and I've been really, really successful.
It's enlightened me and made me feel free.
This revolution I'm launching has been in the making for 35 years and it's finally becoming a reality.
Making that first sale felt like a weight had been lifted off of my shoulders.
I already have my first client for 8-week coaching program and I'm so thrilled about that.
I've sold 35 courses.
Ton of amazing success.
I have had about 200 clients.
I have had 8 private clients come through.
I could not believe my eyes when this happened. I made the change in 8 days to give up my 9-to-5 job and to go full-time into my new business.
Your results, the success you want, how long do you want it to take? That clicked and all of this put into motion what I did, changing my messaging, stepping up, burning the boats, and owning my fire.
You gave the client what they needed and not just to make a sale.
I'm on my way to serving even more people.
I've got my first sale.
I sold my first 3 courses.
I made my first sale yesterday.
I got another client today.
My passion is to support these beautiful beings.
Selling to them is serving them. It's helping them.
Impacting others by helping them learn from my experiences.
We're all heart-centered. We want to change the world, and there's something really profound and magical about that energy.
Everybody's there to back you up. There's no haters. Everybody's there to make sure you keep progressing. It's one way to get you out of your comfort zone, to get you going into your next level, your new world, working for you, nobody else. Holla.
Welcome back, welcome back. I see you, Joelle. I see you. I see you, Anika. I see you, Sandra. All right. First off, congratulations for all of you who said yes. It's an honor to serve, and we cannot wait for you to see what we created for you. If you see our excitement, if you see our enthusiasm, it's because it's the thing we wish we had. So we're so excited for those of you that are going to join us. Our next presenter, I went from not knowing her at all. So but before we go anywhere, do you guys have some energy to finish strong? We got an amazing speaker coming now. They got Mr. Tony Robbins coming. And we got to start the energy now, so by the time Tony gets here, you know he's going to be asking for your best. You know it. Our next presenter, I went from barely knowing her about 3 months ago to we were just joking, we're besties now. We might as well just go have coffee once in a while. No, I got introduced to her by a mutual friend. And when you just watch somebody who gets it, who took her passion and truly turned it into a multi-million-dollar business. She's the founder of Gardenary. She's helped over 35,000 women or people grow their very own kitchen garden. Now, I wouldn't have known what a kitchen garden is until my wife, who now follows Nicole, who we're going to bring out here, has informed me what a kitchen garden is. And we're building a new house. And I'm going to have to hit you up because I know exactly where our new kitchen garden is going. But how cool is this? It was something that was her passion. And now it is a thriving business. I see you, Marie. Isn't that the most amazing? This is the thing you want. But Nicole's not just here to share her story. She's here to teach and share. She's absolutely amazing. She's become a dear friend, and I'm so honored to have her here. Can we give her a warm welcome from the Game Has Changed community, Miss Nicole Berg.
Hi.
So good, so good. Nicole, everyone.
Hello, you look amazing. I hope you're feeling amazing. It blows me away to know that the things Dean just said about me are true. It is crazy that I've helped over 500 people start their garden. It's even crazier that over 6,500 people have taken my gardening courses online. It's wild that 35,000 people read my gardening books. But it's really, really crazy that over 2 million people follow me and learn to garden with me on social media. The craziest thing is that my garden business has made over $12 million because it was not always this way. It was the fall of 2014, and I was ironing. My 5-year-old jeans were falling off, my white t-shirt was stained, and my 4-minute makeup routine from early that morning, it was long gone. Jason was stretched across the bed. He was closing his eyes. We were both tired. I met Jason in grad school playing ultimate frisbee, and he was the perfect combination. He was really smart and also very good looking. In 7 years, we moved fast. We dated, married, and had 4 kids. We had survived his grad school years, his postgraduate years, and we thought we had finally made it. He was working as a chemist, and I was a homeschooler, y'all. From 5 a.m. until 8 p.m. every day, I was the housekeeper. I was the English teacher, the math teacher, the science teacher. I was also the housekeeper. I was the grocery shopper, the cook, the after-dinner cleaner-upper. And I was also the housekeeper. I was the afternoon activity organizer, the minivan driver. And did I mention that I was a really bad housekeeper? We needed help, but money was tight, and so I was mostly the help. We're dipping into savings every month. This is what Jason had told me a few weeks prior. And I was like, there's no way. We're clipping coupons. I'm driving a beat-up minivan, complete with Sharpie marker on both sides, thanks to my toddler. We were rarely eating out and not going on vacation. So it took me a few weeks to process what he said, and that's what brought me to the ironing board. I said, Jason, I'm waving the white flag. And, I probably should have said the words, I quit, but I was too scared. And so I used this terminology from war to basically say, I can't do this anymore. Is anybody feeling that way? And he said, what do you mean? And I said, well, I love you. I'm in love with you. I love being a mom to our 4 kids, but I can't do this. I can't do this schedule, this stress. I can't do this money situation. I think I need to stop homeschooling. And he said, well, then what do you want to do? And I didn't know. I didn't have an answer. I just knew that I wanted tomorrow to look different than yesterday. Yes? And it didn't happen overnight. It took time. It took 10 months for me to get the kids into school. It took a year for me to even come up with a business idea. I was selling seeds I picked from my garden, putting them in envelopes and selling them. I was grabbing $5 bags of soil, putting them into my minivan, driving them around town, and then selling them for $10. I started doing garden consulting where I would teach my garden knowledge. And 2 years later, I created my first online garden course. It took time for me to figure out who to sell to, what to sell, and how to sell it. But slowly but surely, I bought myself a new minivan. No Sharpie markers on this one, at least not to start. I enrolled my kids in soccer lessons and gymnastics lessons that I didn't have to teach. And I even found a little bit of money every now and then to hire some help cleaning up that house. And now today, 9 years later, I'm married and so in love with Jason. We have 4 incredible teenagers, and I'm the owner of one of the most influential garden companies in the country. Over the years, I have made a million mistakes, but there are 3 things that I've done every single day. And so if you're here with me and you have a white flag to raise, anyone? Then I want to share with you my 3 secrets, my 3 things that are the reason why I'm here and my today looks so different than my yesterday. So are you with me? Are you in? I know you're tired. I know you've been learning all day. Well, let's do it. It's just 3 things. You can do 3 things, right? So the first thing is you got to become a believer. Before I had my ironing board moment, Jason built me the cutest vegetable garden right beside my driveway, just the way Dean's gonna have to do in a few months. And every morning I would go out with a bowl in one hand, scissors in the other, and I would walk out and I would start cutting. Leaves still with dew on them from the night before, carrots from the soil, peas off the vine, and I would bring them inside, make Jason a quick lunch he could bring with him to work, and cut up some snacks for me and the kids. And those moments when the sky was above my head, when I could smell the dirt underneath my fingernails and I was holding this food I had grown myself from seed, I thought, this is good. This makes me feel so good. Have any of you had a moment like that? Just something you do in your day that's so simple and yet it makes you feel so good? I see your hands. Well, I started walking, I was exercising in my neighborhood, and I thought, what if every one of my neighbors had a garden like mine? Wouldn't I live in a really good neighborhood? And then I thought, what if I drive around the city with my kids, and I thought, what if my whole city, what if everyone in this city had a garden? And I told Jason, I'm starting to believe in this garden thing, like how good it is. I'm starting to think that I could sell this. All these people are spending all this money trying to feel good and feel better, and I have the thing they need. And I did just that. I started to sell the garden. My first goal was 100 gardens in my city, and then I made it bigger. I wanted everyone in my city to have a garden. And now today I talk about the fact that I won't stop until every person in the world is able to wake up and go outside and pick something that they can eat. I mean, is that cool? So your first step is to take the thing you love, to take something that has made you feel good and to start to believe in it, to practice it and enjoy it and start to become a believer in your own thing. You may not have that thing yet. You might already have just a small idea in your head, but your first job is to start believing that this thing you love isn't just for you. It could be for your whole neighborhood, for your whole city, eventually for the whole world. When you become a believer, business gets easy. Number one, there are no competitors once you're a believer, because every other person out there that's doing what you're doing, they're making your beliefs, your dreams come true. We're all on the same team if you're a believer. When you're a believer, there's no such thing as, oh, that's already been done before, because obviously it hasn't been done enough. When you're a believer, you can get over yourself and sell this thing, because you know that on the other side of that purchase, when that person signs up with you, they're going to feel what you felt. They're going to feel good. So why would you not sell your thing? You got to be a believer. Are you going to be a believer? Number two, I love the hands. I see you, David. When you become a believer, you got to commit to show up every day. When I decided I was going all in with this garden business, my cousin Laura calls me. She's gorgeous, 6 years younger than me, already running her own online business. She's younger, but she's way ahead. Anybody feeling that way? And she says, Nicole, you got to get on this thing called Instagram. And I'm like, Insta what? Because I was new to the internet. I didn't even have a smartphone like the day before. I'm like, Laura, Instagram has absolutely nothing to do with my business. And she's like, oh, it has everything to do with your business. Well, what was I? I was a believer, right? And so I said, all right, I'll give it a try. She's younger, she's cooler. Let's see what happens. So I committed every day to show up. Day one, hey, I'm scared, but I want to show you how to plant and grow some lettuce. It's the easiest thing to grow. You take a seed and you just stick it in the dirt. Hey, day 47, remember that first day when we planted the lettuce together? Today, we're going to cut it together. It's so easy. All you need is some scissors. Day 173, hey, come on in. My daughter's with me, and today we're going to dig up some potatoes together from the garden. Day 1932, hey, everyone, I'm going to teach you how to prune your tomatoes today. It is the coolest thing, and you're going to get way more fruit, I promise. You see, you think that the hardest thing to earn on the internet is $1. But that's actually the easiest thing. All you got to do is show something that people want and they'll pay you money. They're used to buying things online now. You might think the hardest thing to earn online is respect, for people to think that you're great. All you got to do is show off a little bit, flex your guns, and people will respect you. You know the hardest thing to earn online? It's trust. Because trust takes time. Trust takes consistency. And that's the bad news. But you know what the good news is? We can all earn it. Because you don't have to have the best product. You don't have to be the most impressive. You just have to show up. So when you show up, I want you to pick your place, pick your stage. It doesn't have to be Instagram. It can be a podcast. It can be your website. It can be an email. It can be a text. It can be a phone call. I don't care what it is, but I want you to pick the place where every day you're going to show up. And I don't want you to perform when you show up. There's no fanciness we need. I just need you. I need you to show up just as you are and just do your thing. Don't make something up. Just live your life. Do that thing that makes you feel so good. Just do it in front of people. Let them see you practice. Document your work. And when you do, invite them to come along with you. Say, hey, stop scrolling. Let's do this together. When I do this, you do it too. You're going to show up every day, and it's not always going to be easy. There's going to be days when you don't know what to say, when you're struggling. In 2019, I was there. I was putting in the effort, but the results were not there. I was working hard, but the numbers were not adding up. And I was discouraged and I felt personally defeated, but I remembered my promise to myself, to my people, that I would show up for them every day. And so I did. And that's when I got the DM from Rena. And she said, Nicole, your posts are so encouraging. And I said, well, what do you mean? I needed some encouragement. And she said, I'm going through ovarian cancer. And I'm getting treatments every day. And my doctor said, I can't start a garden right now. So I'm living vicariously through you. I'm watching your posts every day. And suddenly, this wasn't just about me and my hopes and dreams. It wasn't just about me and my business. It was about Rena. And you don't know it yet, but you have a Rena. You have someone who's watching you, someone who's waiting for you, someone who's struggling the way you've struggled, someone who has days where they want to quit. And they need to see you show up when you want to quit. They need to see you show up when you're struggling, to know that they can make it. So be a believer, show up every day. And when you do it your own way. When Jason and I started our garden, we followed all the rules. Tomatoes 3 feet apart, check. Cucumbers 2 feet apart, yes. And it was terrible. I was watering my garden nonstop. It was constantly drying out. And then all the places where I watered it, weeds popped up. And I was like, I hate this. This is a failure. I'm never going to be a successful gardener. And then we took a trip to Big Bend National Park. It was Jason and me, the 4 kids. We're hiking through the desert. Y'all, it was July, and the plants were thriving. All these plants growing all closely together. No one was watering or weeding, and yet somehow the desert plants looked better than the ones in my garden. So I went home and I said, I'm going to ignore all these rules that typical gardeners keep, and I'm just going to take a note from nature. So I went crazy. I planted plants everywhere. I left no blank spaces, and the results were amazing. Less watering, no room for weeds, and my garden was packed and productive. I started teaching this to clients. I started putting it into online courses. I wrote about it in my book. And now, today, I get texts and DMs and photos from people everywhere that say, I planted my garden your way, and it worked. I'm now known as the crazy plant lady who packs in the plants and breaks all the rules. When you do your thing, I want you to do it your way. Because have you had a terrible moment? Have you had a moment where you're like, this is not working? Yeah, me too. And then have you had a big bend moment, an aha moment where you go, oh, there's a different way to do this? I see you shaking your head. Those two things, your terrible moment and your big bend moment, they give you your unique way to teach your thing. And it's necessary. Because if the best lessons were out there, if everything that's needed to teach people how to do the thing you're going to teach is out there already, then why are they still scrolling? Why are they still looking for another way? It's because you haven't taught them your way yet. When you speak and teach your own way, you create a new opportunity, and everyone is looking for new. Anybody looking for new? I know I am. When you teach your own way, you make a way for people who would never, ever, ever be interested in your thing. I've had people say, I hate gardening, but you just might be convincing me. When you teach your own way, you also stand out. And that's going to be necessary as you grow your business. So those are the three things. Be a believer. Show up every day and do it your own way. Now I can hear you kind of thinking, Nicole, this worked for you. This worked, not sure this is going to work for me. And that's because you're thinking about the game out there. Because in the game out there, you got to be famous. You got to be somebody. But this game that Dean's been teaching about this week, this game, you just have to help somebody. In that game out there, you need an investor. You need a lot of money. But in this game, and I'm telling you from my own experience, you just have to invest in yourself. Out there, you need to look a certain way. And in this game, hear me out, there are people online that are looking for someone that looks just like you. They want to learn from someone that looks the way you look. Out there, you have to be great just to get started. And in this game, you just have to start to become great. I know this because I'm a gardener, and I know the power of a seed. A seed, if you hold it in your hand, it will only and ever be just one seed. But if I take this seed and I plant it and water it and tend it, it won't happen overnight, but days and months and a couple weeks from now, there will be leaves and stems and flowers and fruit, and that one seed will become 100 or 1,000 more seeds. My seed, it came in the mail. It was a few months after I had my ironing board white flag moment with Jason, and I opened up the mailbox and it said, Nicole Burke, $400. I thought I should pay a bill with this or deal with the kids' tuition. Or maybe I could use this to start my business. And I did just that. I drove a few blocks away, went to the bank, and I put my $400 down. I said, I want to open a business checking account. And that $400, maybe I should have been more responsible. Maybe I should have paid a bill with it. But that would have stayed just $400. But because I put it away, because I planted it, it became a $12 million business. But way more than that, it's challenged people to start a garden. In fact, because of that $400, thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people now have a garden. And possibly millions of people now call themselves gardeners. Because I took that $400 and I invested it, I didn't save it. I put it down on my dream, on my belief. I am now living in a world that is daily becoming the world I want to live in, a world that is full of gardens. And you have a seed right now. Right now, it may be tiny. You can't even quite see this seed yet. But today, you're holding a seed just like I was. And so I'm going to ask you the question that Jason asked me. What do you want to do? Because today you have the choice. You can hold on to it and stay safe, and things will stay just the way that they are. Or you can shake things up, and you can dig a hole and plant that seed. Water it with teaching and education. You can tend it with community and all of us together. You can share it, teach it, video it, document it, photograph it, talk about it, write about it, promote it, offer it. And if you make that choice, it won't happen overnight. But days from now, weeks from now, years from now, you will look up and you will see hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of people who believe in the same thing that you do, who see the goodness and feel the goodness of the thing you're getting to experience in your own life. You will wake up and there will be people who are following you and showing up with you every single day. And they're doing the thing you're doing right alongside you. You have everything that you need in this one little seed. I know that you are amazing. I already believe in you. And if I can do this, I know you can do this. And you do not have to do it alone. Thank you.
So good. Wow. So good. Everybody, Nicole Burke. So good. Give it up for her. Wow. That is the first time I've ever seen Nicole speak. I've watched her on her Instagram talking about gardening, but wasn't that a 10 out of 10? She's still in the back. Let her know if it's a 10 out of 10. You got Trent and Nicole back to back. Who could not? Feels like a Sunday, like I said earlier. So who in here wants to garden? And how cool is it to feel that passionate about something you do for a living? You know, something I talk about a lot is most of us try to find this work-life balance. How is that working out for you? That's life and work integration. That's when you don't know when work ends and life begins, or what life ends and work begins, because both of them light up your soul and light up your heart. And that's the wish we'd have for every single one of you. If you could see that smile, did you see the genuine smile on her face when she talked about gardening? The genuine smile when she talked about getting other people to garden? Does that happen immediately? No, sometimes like, how do I do this first thing? What do I do here? But that's the journey. That's the journey we want to help you be on. I would love to have you on our stage someday, just talking through your soul, the way you can't hold your smile back. I see you, Claire, right? I see you, Joelle. This is what's possible. Overnight riches for doing nothing? I don't know where that exists anywhere in the world. But something that's can light up your soul and has no glass ceiling, God, that's the outcome. So anyway, I'm blown away. I took so many notes. It was unbelievable. And the biggest takeaway I had is you just have to show up and you just have to be you. And I think that's beyond true. And I hope you see that. Now, a couple of things in a moment here. We got another guest. This next guest, he's a little bit taller than me. He's a buddy of mine. I think you know who it is. We're going to bring him on here in a minute. We're going to want to get our energy up for him. But two quick things. I was talking to Nicole before she came out. And she watched Trent go, and we were all fired up in the back. We got a whole bunch of us watching. And she watched Trent give away his bonus. He's giving his Impact Master. Anybody who enrolls in the Mastermind Business System, you'll get Trent's baby, the Impact Mastery. And Nicole's like, wait, you can give something away? I want to give something away. So if you've ever seen Nicole on Instagram, she is amazing. She took the same formula she did for gardening, and she applied it to Instagram, and it's the way she gets all of her clients. And she created a course called The 7 Things You Need to Know to Build Your IG Following. And she just said before, she's like, if Trent's giving that away, can I give that away? So if for those of you who have already enrolled in the Mastermind Business System or decide to, you'll get both Nicole and Trent's bonus. And I'm honored and privileged that they would do that for us in supporting us. So with that said, are you guys ready for what's next? Emily Priest, you don't look like Emily, but glad to have you here. Kent, what's going on? Wait a minute, let me just ask. Are you ready for our next guest? Do you think we could bring up the energy a little bit? Do you have enough? Can we finish strong today? Can we finish real strong today? And in a moment here, can we please light it up for my dear friend and my brother, Mr. Tony Robbins.
Nice to see you. Wake it up. Oh, yes. How y'all doing out there, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it's great to join you. Listen, it's been a wild ride for a few days here. And I just want to thank all of you for playing so full out. We have, after the first day, a bunch of other people joined us, so we have almost 1 million people from over 100 countries. Give it up for everybody, ladies and gentlemen. It's amazing. So Well, we've certainly covered some territory here, and you know, when I look at all your smiling faces, I see such a change from day one for some of you. What is this all about? But you know, I think so many people participating, it's just a reflection of the times we're in, the need we're in. There's so much that people feel outside of their control, and you and I both know if you don't come up with a plan for your own life, you're going to fit into somebody else's plan. And it's time to take charge, and I think you've seen that now, and you also see by all these tools that we have, and GG and AI and all the things that can just accelerate things that took literally decades for myself and Dean, that now you can do in days and some things even hours. It's pretty damn exciting. So, and I think you've seen the package we put together for you is ridiculous. It's half as much money as the first one we ever did, which only included some training. And now we have all of these tools all integrated for you. So I hope you take advantage of it. And I just stopped by here because I want you to remember that when you see someone who's really good at something, and you think, oh, they're so confident, they're so skilled. Well, yes, maybe now, but that's not how it started for me or for Dean. We were just two guys, independent of each other. We didn't know each other back then, obviously. I started a few years earlier, they had a few decades earlier, who just decided, hey, I really want to learn this. I want to change my own life, and I want to take some of the problems or challenges, and I want to, once I solve them, help some other people. And we just put one foot in front of the other, and what looks like confidence and certainty is just doing something so often. You know, I have the privilege of working with a lot of great athletes and sports teams, and I own a few sports teams, and Golden State Warriors own a small piece of, and I've had a chance to coach the team. And if you look at somebody like historically Steph Curry, one of the greatest three-point shooters in history, and you go, wow, he makes it look so easy. He just shoots the ball and it just goes in. In fact, a lot of times he shoots the ball and he doesn't even look, he turns and just smiles because he knows it's in. It's like, what? How does he do that? What a magician. But I'd love to give you a little insight because I have a phrase I tell people. People are rewarded in public for what they practice in private. And what I mean by that is, if you found out how he did that, he has been shooting 500 shots a day every day, 7 days a week for most of his life. But let's just take his 15-year career in the NBA. Imagine that. 500 shots a day, right? 3,500 shots a week. It's 168,000 shots a year. 15 years of it is 2.2 million shots he's done in practice. In his entire game history, seeing 2.2 million shots, guess what? All that so he can make 3,000 shots that are three-pointers and be the greatest in the history of the world. So people ask me sometimes, how long does it take to get good at something? My question is, how long do you want it to take? Because I remember when I went to work for Jim Rohn, there was a guy there that was so skilled. I mean, so talented, but he was also a jerk. And I hate people that have huge ego and they push down other people. Even when I was 5'1" little guy, I'd stick up for the other little guys. I just hated that approach. So he was such a jerk, I went up to him on the first day and I said, you better remember my name. I'm Tony Robbins. And I said, I'm going to dwarf you within a few months. He looked at me like this weird look and I said, you know why? Because you're lazy. Because you go out and do 2 or 3 talks a month and you're really skilled. But I'm going to go do 3 talks a day. I said, what you do in a month, I'm going to do in a day. Imagine, within a few weeks, I'm going to dwarf what you do usually in a year. Within a few months, I'll do years worth of experience. And by the way, I did. I beat him within, I think it was 5 months that I did, and then never looked back, because what I did was I got cassette tapes in those days, right? And I listened over and over. I listened to my car. I made my car my mobile kind of basically, seminar room, my mobile education, my mobile university. And I fed my mind all day when I was driving, fed it in the night when I was going to sleep. And because I did that over and over again and kept stepping up and kept trying things and not always doing it well, I got better and better and better. Dean got better and better and better. But to do that, you have to master the most important skill of all, which is mastering your own mind and emotions. Because if you think about it, what is the accelerator or the brake on anybody's life? It's which emotions they have. If you're worried, if you're fearful, if you're doubt, we all have those emotions. But if you let them dominate you, they're the brake on your ability to go forward. But if you can focus on your passion, your desire to serve, seeing the impact you want, then you have the accelerators of excitement and passion that move you forward. It's like I always tell people, what influences us most are invisible forces. Sounds corny, but think about it. What influences you most? Gravity, that's invisible. Too much, you're dead. Too little, you're not on the planet. Radiation. Too much, we're dead. Too little, we die. It's this delicate balance. Electricity, it's an invisible force that affects all of our lives. I'm able to talk to you because of it. But the most powerful invisible force is human emotion. And the emotions in our life that stop us, those fears, those angers, those anxieties, can be changed in seconds. But here's the problem. Most people, and this is what I'm cautioning you about, the biggest mistake most people make is I hear them say, I just don't feel ready. I can't start. I just don't feel ready yet. Maybe in the future. And I said the other day, the road to someday leads to a town called nowhere. You don't want to go there. It doesn't work, right? But when they say, excuse me, I just don't feel ready. If I waited to do things till I felt ready, I wouldn't be here with you. Excuse me. Because feeling ready, you rarely feel ready. You feel ready after you do it over and over again. It's like confidence looks like tying your shoes. Right? Once you've done enough times, you don't have to think about it. When I first went to drive a stick shift car, it was like, I gotta do this and this, and I gotta watch the rear view mirror too. Forget it, it'll never happen. But once you do it enough, if you wait till you feel ready, you never drive. You gotta drive. You gotta put yourself in the seat. You gotta put yourself on the line. You gotta do a few things. Now you get to have a co-pilot called Gigi, right? You get to have a co-pilot with us guiding you every step of the way. You got a co-pilot called your community. So you're not alone. That's the best part. Every step of the way, we're here to be able to assist you. But you can't wait to quote, you're ready. Now, I'll tell you the philosophy that changed me when I first met my teacher, Jim Rohn. I remember talking about I didn't feel ready. There were certain things. I didn't feel like I was old enough. I didn't have enough skill. And he said, Tony, all you need to do is live the philosophy of stretching. I said, well, what is that? I've never heard of it. He said, the philosophy of stretching says this. If you say I can't do something, then you must. And I said, well, that sounds crazy. If I can't jump off a cliff, then I must? He said, no, don't be stupid, right? He said, think of it this way. If there's something that if you did it, you'd be a better man, a better husband, a better friend, a better business person, a better you, and it would work, and you don't do it, you must do it. You can't even think about it. So as soon as you say I can't, say I must, and just do it. And if you develop that habit, your life will change. I said, well, that doesn't feel like a very secure life. He said, if you want security, go to prison, right? There's plenty of security. But if you want freedom, you have to step up. And when you say I can't do it, just say I must and make it your habit. And I got to tell you, thanks to Jim Rohn, it's been my habit for almost 40 years. And so much of my life I've done because it's like when I'm not ready. That means I'm ready. I don't know what to say. That means I don't know what to say. I just step into it. And the more you do that, my friends, the more you'll be blown away by how your brain and body will work together. It's kind of like, we know the only thing that stops us is fear. Like you got an opportunity today. This is our last day. This is your last chance. Do you want to be on the other side of, wishing and thinking about it and rationalizing why you didn't do it? Jim Rohn used to always tell me, he goes, there's excuses, you can call them reasons, right? And then there's results. The only way to get results is get rid of all your reasons, all your excuses, and just make yourself do it, because the fear of failure, the fear of not knowing enough, the fear of not being enough, everybody has those feelings. I might travel the earth. I work with some of the most successful people on earth, multi-billionaires, children, guys in prison, people that are challenged, people that are successful. All of them, all of us have these fears. They're part of the human being. We were trained. We have a 2 million-year-old brain. And that brain was not trained to make you happy. It was trained to make you survive. And there's a big difference, isn't there? I mean, to survive doesn't take very much. But what makes us survive is this fear thing. It's like it's always looking for what could get us in trouble, what could cause a problem, where could we fail. But it was designed when we were fighting off a saber-toothed tiger we had to be prepared for to survive. Today, now our brain reacts as if to like an emergency, as if what somebody wrote about you on social media doesn't sound so good. Or we don't have enough money when, if you're watching this right now, you have enough money to have access to the web and answers and so forth. So it's just like we react like survival. And what happens to survival? You either fight or you freeze, right? So that it doesn't notice you, or you flight, you run away. Well, none of those will give you what you want. If you want an extraordinary quality of life, you got to master those emotions, train yourself to move forward. And I'll tell you a simple metaphor story that give you an example of what really helped me. Years and years ago, I decided I wanted to learn to drive race cars. And I was fortunate enough to know a man named Bob Bondurant, who was a very famous race car driver, and he had a race car school up in Northern California. And so I called Bob and I said, do you think you'd be willing to train me? Not one of your people to do this. I'd love to come out, but I want to learn from the best. He said, sure. So I go to this place, I'll never forget. And the first thing we did is we get in this car, and he goes, Tony, the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to show you what a car can do. So you're going to be in the passenger seat, all locked in, helmet, gears. I'm going to drive, but I want you to see what a vehicle is capable of doing. And we're at a place called Laguna Seca. It's a very famous race course up in Northern California. And there's a part where you get in the car and we start accelerating, and we get to 120 miles an hour going straight at, it's called a corkscrew. It looks like a wall, and you got to go around it. At 120 miles, it's so intense. Your heart is beating out of your chest. I thought for sure the car was going to flip over multiple times. So we do this whole racetrack, and he stops, and my heart's beating out my chest, and he goes, now that's what a car can do. And in 4 days, you're going to be doing that as well. And I said, Bob, I'm a very positive guy, and you're full of it. I said, I don't even know that I want to do this now. That was insane. He goes, trust me, we're not going to start by you doing what I just did. I'm showing you where we're going to get you. I said, how are we going to get me there? He goes, we're going to start by putting you in a spin car. So what's a spin car? He goes, a spin car is a car that's designed where I'm going to be in the right seat over here. You're going to be driving. And I don't have any car pieces to put on a brake or anything. You're in charge of this car. But we're going to drive a little slower, more like 80, 90 miles an hour. Then we'll get to 100. And when we're driving in that pace, he said, there's 4 buttons below the seat over here. He showed me there were. He goes, when I'm sitting here, you won't be able to see. I'll just put my hand here. And if I push any one of those 4 buttons, it'll lift one of the 4 wheels and we'll spin out of control in that direction. I said, okay. He goes, and if you just keep going that direction, you're going to hit a wall, which means either you will die, or we'll both die, or injured, or at least the car will be mashed and you got to pay for the car. So here's what I suggest you do. Here's the secret to coming out of a spin. And I thought, as we sang it, I thought this is a great metaphor. Because haven't you ever been in a spin in life where things feel out of control and you know what the hell to do and at the effect of things? He goes, when you get in a spin, the most important thing to do is focus on where you want to go, not on what you're afraid of. I said, this is simple. I teach this stuff, right? No worries, right? He goes, have you ever heard about a guy who's driving his brand new Porsche down a country road, 100 miles an hour, 120 miles an hour, and he loses control, and there's one telephone pole every quarter of a mile, and he manages to hit the telephone pole? Because the minute he gets out of control, he goes, oh my God, I don't want to hit that pole. And he focuses on the pole, and whatever you focus on, you unconsciously steer into it. So he said, you're going to want to look at the wall. You need to force yourself to focus on where you want to go, the turn. If you focus on the wall, you're going to crash. You've got to focus on where you want to go. And he said, unconsciously, you'll turn. So I go, okay, this makes sense. I teach this stuff. I can handle this. So I get in the car and I'm competitive. I'm like, okay, let's do this. And we're going 80, 90, up to 100 miles an hour. And you're like, when you hear about people in race cars and they say it's, a big, intense sport, it's so intense. You don't think so. You think I'm just driving, but the adrenaline and the focus. And so I'm like ready. I'm in my brain, I'm like, push that button. I'm ready, push that button. But he doesn't. Just like life life never pushes your button when you're ready for it, does it? Right? So he's watching and he sees the moment I just lose a little bit of focus. And sure enough, he pushed the button, we start spinning out of control. Now, where does my brain go instantly? The wall. I start looking right at the wall. Now, he grabs my head and forces it to turn, look at the turn. But I'm fighting it because I want to see the death happen. But as he forces me to do this and I'm fighting him, what happens? I unconsciously turn where I'm focusing. And sure enough, the last few seconds, the wheels catch and we miss the wall. Feels like 6 inches, probably about 2 feet, but I'm a guy. We tend to exaggerate in our heads, right? So he goes, did you learn? My heart's still beating out of my chest. I said, sure, I learned. I didn't learn shit. Because we went back. It's a habit, right? We have a habit of focusing on what we're afraid of. That's why most people don't succeed. You have to train yourself to do the other. That's what we do in this training program. You're going to be doing it with me on a daily basis as we go through the training program. So bottom line is, I go to do it again, speed up, I'm concentrating, he waits, I miss focus, boom, picks up wheel, spin in the direction, I look straight at the wall, it grabs my head, shoves it, I fight. But sure enough, we turn. After about a dozen times, my brain got it. And so we start to lose out of control, boom, I look to the way I want to go. Now, while you're doing it, here's a question. When you start doing the right thing, do you instantly get rewarded? No, there's something called lag time. Like some people say, well, I've been on a diet for 4 days and it ain't working. Well, you've been a pig for 30 years. We need a few more days, right? That's what I said to myself years ago, right? So the bottom line is, when you do the right thing, though, there's so much momentum going the wrong direction. It doesn't change instantly, which makes you scared, makes you want to look again. If you look, you'll hit it. So he keeps holding you, and sure enough, it catches. So you learn to trust it. You have to. And so after a while, it's just vroom, 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 and you master it. But here's the key question. If you focus on the wall, well, better yet, if you focus on where you want to go, are you guaranteed to go where you want to go and miss the wall? No. There's no guarantees in life. All you do is increase the probability. But if you focus on the wall, you are guaranteed to crash and hit. How many follow what I'm saying here? Say aye. Say aye. So what I want you to get is, what we want to train ourselves to do is focus on what we want instead of what we fear. And that's a new habit for you. But once you get it down, you'll be able to race through your business. You'll be able to race through the limitations other people do. And it's like a muscle. It's like you do it. It's like learning to drive the stick shift car. It's impossible, but you keep doing it. And all of a sudden, there's a day when you can do it and you can be thinking about 3 things and you can be eating something, hopefully not texting as well while you're driving, right? But you really can, and it really works because you're no longer held back. So I just want to leave you with the most simple principle. I mentioned this the other day, but I just want you to know that with all of my children, for example, I'll give you a specific example of my daughter Jolie, right? So I remember when Jolie was, I think it was just turning 20, if I remember correctly, and she was at the university, maybe she was 19. She's at the university, and she's doing really well. She's getting straight A's. I was really proud of her, and she was doing great. And she's on Christmas break, visiting at home. And so I said, hey, Jo, I said, how you doing on your dream? And her dream had always been to be a dancer on Broadway, her entire life since she was a little girl. And she goes, what do you mean, Dad? I said, you know what I mean? How you doing on your dream to be a dancer on Broadway? She goes, well, I'm doing great in school. I said, I know, I'm proud of you, but I'm talking about the dancing, your dream. And she said, well, I've been doing these competitions and I've won most of them, which she was. I said, well, that's what concerns me, honey. She said, what? I said, it concerns me you're always winning because that tells me you're not going up against tough enough players. And I think that if you really want to succeed, you got to do the things that I teach. You got to go for full immersion. You got to put yourself in the environment with the most difficult people. She said, well, what are you suggesting? I said, well, honey, I think when you look at me and you see what I've done in my life, you think I'm really brilliant. And of course I am, I'm your father, right? And I said, but I don't think you know what the brilliance is. I said, the brilliance is when an opportunity comes in front of me, I always look at it as God gave this, the universe gave it, and I grab it. It doesn't matter. I used to go, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to start, I'm too overwhelmed. I had all these stories. But I said, I destroyed those stories and developed just a pattern to grab it and run with it. Now, not every opportunity I've grabbed has been worthwhile, but I've not missed any opportunities, and I've found some real ones that made me grow, expand, and change my life. So I have a very simple philosophy, and that is simply this, and I invited all of you to consider it. I told it to her that again that day. I said, every day my view is this: whenever I make a decision, whenever I set a goal, whenever I know there's an opportunity in front of me, I never leave the sight of that opportunity. I never leave the sight, the moment of that decision or goal without doing something right then that commits me to follow through. Because otherwise, you've ever done this? You're all excited. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it in a week. I'm going to do it in a month. And then a week or month later, you're no longer in state. And then you get caught up in other things and you don't follow through. Who can relate, right? So I said, honey, what you got to do is while you're in that state, while you're in the state of knowing what's possible, do something that commits you to follow through when you leave that time, that gives you momentum. Schedule a meeting, lock something down, fire somebody in the business, hire somebody, schedule a call, whatever it is, but do something that locks you into following through. Invest in something, do something. She goes, well, how does it relate to me? I said, it's really simple, honey. I said, the best dancers in the world, you want to be on Broadway, you need to compete against Broadway dancers. You got to learn in that environment. You're in LA. I said, you've grown up on the beach. I grew up very poor. You grew up on the beach in a really nice home in a really nice environment. You need to toughen up and you need to compete against the best. She goes, well, what do you mean? I said, well, I think what you should do is leave school, and I think you should move to New York, and I think you should go get training classes there and go to work trying to get a job on Broadway every single day until you get one. And I said, because I think you have tremendous talent, but I'm your father, so I could have a colored view of things, but you're going to know. And I said, if you don't do it, you're going to live with regret. Because I said, this is what you're getting. There's a timeline on everything, isn't there? It's like AI right now. You can be in the front or you're going to be in the back, right? It's like, there's a timeline on a dancer. But you said I should go to college. I said, I did. You still can. But your dream as a dancer, you got to do that. She goes, well, when would I do this? I said, when would now be a good time? She said, now? You mean like right now? It's December. It's the middle of the semester. I said, yes, honey. How are you going to be any closer to your dream at the end of this next semester? She goes, well, I said, I think you should go. I'll help you. I'll pay for the apartment for the move, but you have to have a job. And I'll pay for some of your training, but you got to have a job and you got to support yourself and you go out and do this. She goes, well, that's a big decision. I said, yeah, big results come from big decisions. She goes, well, maybe I should talk to someone else about this. And I said, sure, people pay me $1 million for my coaching. You should go to someone else, get the answers for your life. She goes, no, Dad, you know what I mean? I mean, somebody in the industry. Like I said, who are you thinking of? And she mentioned this guy, Jay, that worked for CAA, a big agency. He's a friend of ours. I said, that's a really smart move. Call Jay and ask him. So she said, okay, well, I said, when? She goes, well, I said, no, now. So she goes to call him. I quickly pick up my phone and dial him. True story. Fortunately, picks up the phone. I said, Jay, it's Tony. Listen, real quick. My daughter's going to call you. I said, here's what I told her. Got to compete with the best. Got to learn from the best. She's here in LA. I said, tell me if I'm full of it. He goes, no, Tony, you're absolutely right. LA is not the place for the dancer. New York, if she's going to be on Broadway, so that's what she's got to do. I said, then tell her that. Okay, bye. So she comes back a few minutes later and says, his line's busy. So I said, call him again. Well, you can't give it. That's your persistence. You'll never make it. So she goes and calls him again. I don't see her for another hour. They talk for like 45 minutes. At the end of 45 minutes, she comes back in and she says, Dad, Jay said that's the right thing to do. I said, Father knows best. I said, but it's logic, right? Everything is about modeling. Learn from the very best. Be in the environment with the best, and it's going to affect you. Just like being a part of this community. We're going to be around all these people supporting each other. That's different than being off on your own. So I said, let's do it. So we did, and it helped move, and it turned out it was the worst storm season and winter season in New York in like a decade. So she went from sunny Southern California by the beach to freezing her butt off. And but to her credit, she really went for it. She took the classes, was going out on jobs, trying. And I don't know, it was probably 6-8 months later, maybe 7 months later, I'm coming to New York. I let her know I'm coming. And she goes, okay, Dad, I can't wait to see you. And when I get to the airport, there's a car there for me, and I didn't order the car. I'm like, impressive. You know, your daughter. Wow. how did she get my money to pay for this car? That's a big, right? And so the guy says, okay, I'll take you. I get in the back of the car and we're driving off and we drive past the neighborhood that she lives in. And I was like, isn't that where we're supposed to turn? He goes, no, we have a different location she's meeting you at. And then we get down to downtown on Broadway, where all the plays are, and we pull up to this theater. And on the outside of this theater, I see in big letters, the play Tommy. You know, some of you know the play Tommy, the Elton John song. And right underneath it is my daughter's name. Within 7 months, she's starring on Broadway from going to New York City. How's that for Jolie? So I'm very proud of her. Obviously, I'd like to take full credit for her success. That it was her talent, her hard work, but I helped push her over the edge. And that's what I hope you do today for yourself. I hope you push yourself over the edge. If you're on the edge, don't make up any excuses. I don't have the money or the time. You can do this. You don't have it, you can get it. But you don't want to cheat yourself. Like I told Jolie, right? It's like Jim Rohn always said, there's two pains in life. There's the pain of discipline, and there's the pain of regret. And discipline weighs ounces, and regret weighs tons. You don't want to have FOMO. You don't want to miss out. And this is the time that you're in state, and we've given you the best offer we've ever had of any sort. It's not going to change my economic life or Dean's, but I promise you, if you apply yourself, it'll change yours. And also, even more than the economics, it gives you a sense of excitement and meaning, control of your life. And it's just a couple baby steps, and we'll guide you every step of the way. So I hope you feel our sincerity, and I hope you feel how much value we've given you for 3 days, regardless of what you do. But I hope you decide to join our community here, and if you do, I really look forward to serving you, and I know Dean does as well. And hearing the story of your success, about what you've built, because once again, you know, things that start small become really big over time. And if you put your heart and soul into it, you're going to be doing some stuff that make you proud, make you grateful. You're going to touch some lives with some of the insights you have. And I'm going to be really excited to hear your story and maybe even get the chance to meet you personally. So till then, I'm going to turn you back to my dear friend Dean. I'm sending all my love and blessings. And whatever you do, we look forward to hearing the story of your great success. God bless you all. Give a hand to everybody who's participated on the show. Stand up with some energy. 1, 2, 3, go! Come on, come on! Live with passion. We'll see you. Back to Dean.
Just every time he gets you fired up, gets you in your soul, doesn't he? I see you, Caroline, just every time, not sometimes. Guys, I want to first off say thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for playing full out. You know, and Tony's taught me so many amazing things. I watch him. He's the one that got me into this industry. I'm so glad today we're going to get so many of you into this industry. There's a couple things that really shifted for me that he shared. I shared on the whiteboard, where do you want to go? Focusing on your solution, focusing your outcome, right? As Tony says, focus on where you want to go, not what you fear. And one really important message that Tony always taught me was, it only takes a moment of courage to change your life, to change your game. And we hope today we get the opportunity to help you change your game. And we hope you choose us. This is one of the last chances you're going to have to enroll or upgrade if you're a part of the Dollar Trial, and we'd love to serve you. Thank you for being a part of this journey. Thank you for being with us 3 days. And again, we hope this isn't the end of a 3-day event, but the beginning of a new you. And we look forward to aligning ourselves with you and helping fuel that path. Go live into your full potential. Go take charge and choose. We thank you so much. We'll see you soon.